going live. We are live. I am so excited tonight. We are actually speaking with my friend who is also a Master Force certified life coach. And I know that you think that all of my friends are Master Force certified life coaches, but that's not true. However, a lot of them are. But tonight, I welcome you to Patiently Waiting for Nothing podcast number 18. And we are talking about the children. Now, you know, Patiently Waiting for Nothing is that book that I wrote way back in 2002 that keeps on giving life to us. So we wanted to actually put some focus on the children because many of us are experiencing our children in several different ways. Some of us have little children. Some of us have children who are about to go off to college. Some of us have adult children that are creating families and grandchildren. So we still get to be parent in their life, but we want to make sure that we're not stifling them by making them remain our children. And, you know, I probably already got you curious, but you'll find out we're going to talk a lot about the children, and you're going to get to know my dear friend Hana very well. So sit back, relax, and before we get started, did I tell you? My name is Rita Shemsu-t. I am the owner of Master Force and the founder of Master Force International Leadership Academy, where we literally work to support people in developing a quality of life based on knowledge. All right. So before we get started with Hana, I actually just want to read an excerpt from my book, and it's called Children. Now, in the book, we actually have two parts. We have actually three parts. The first part is an affirmation. The second part is a short lecture. And then the third part is a recommended reading. So the affirmation for children is, I open my heart to the wondrous joy of being childlike. I open my heart to the wondrous joy of being childlike. Children. It was the oldest son that first saw my struggle from the other side and requested a place near me. He came to remind me of the mission and to represent the path to love and goodness. He mirrors my greatness, beauty, and determination. Let me not destroy his. The miracle-working power of the universe send us our children to teach us, guide us, and remind us. They were with the Master last. They have wisdom, solutions, and joy. Let me surrender to the child. Hear them in their laughter and their silence. Correct my own behavior, not theirs. The reflection of misdeed is in me. Children can soften the journey when we are willing to accept their spirits as our own. Learning to love again in each moment. That is the gift of the child and the secret of pure living and adventure. And the suggested reading is Dare to Discipline by Dr. James Dobson. Now, that probably sparked a little bit of controversy, so I'm going to get controversial with my friend, Hana. Hey, Hana, tell us all about you. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me here.
Yes.
So I look at myself, I have different roles. I'm a wife, a sister, a mother. I have 3 adult children, like you said, and one of them is married and has 3 kids, so a grandmother.
Yes.
And the other two are adults as well. One of them is a therapist. She works with kids with autism. And the other one, I call him my teacher as well, because he is there to correct things that I say or I do and holds my feet to the fire. Sometimes too much holding my feet to the fire. But he tells me, I am here because I really want you to have the better version of you, Mom.
Wow. He actually said that to you?
He says that to me.
Okay.
And then it makes me reflect on his words and makes me accountable for my words and my action. It makes me think twice with what I'm doing or what I'm saying. So a little bit about my background. I work in the corporate world right now. So one leg in the corporate world, the other leg is in the spiritual world, which is where my heart is and what I love. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a Reiki master. I am certified instructor in the state of Texas for healthy relationship and communication skills. I also, I work with kids or youth that were in trouble with the law and help them. So for me, it's really this kind of work is what brings me a smile and brings me alive, where I feel like I am making a difference, because I really feel I have a mission, which is make a difference in this world. And it's very important to me. And making a difference comes from the experience that I went through to get me to where I am right now.
That is so wonderful. When you were talking, I want people to know how we met, because I don't take for granted when the universe brings people into my space. And I know that you're like that too. It's no coincidence. So tell people how we met.
We met in Jamaica.
In 2007?
Something, yes, 2007. We met in Jamaica. I was going to a workshop by Courtney Kazumbi, who I have met in Austin through another workshop, and then I was there and I met you, and I think it was love from first sight. It was like, oh my God, this is like this person. I've known her forever.
I know. It was so interesting because that weekend we all shared our apartment together, and we ate together. We went walking together. We went back and forth to the workshop together. We cooked together. And, it was just perfect, wasn't it? It was just so natural.
Perfect. I remember going to the roof of that apartment.
Yeah.
Out there, I remember you in the kitchen cooking. It was cabbage, peanut butter sauce.
Don't tell my secrets.
And I kept eating, and I said, what's the recipe for that?
You're like, what did you put in here? Yeah.
It was awesome. It was really awesome. And we just hit it from there.
We hit it from there, yeah. And I think you came to visit me in Chicago. I came to visit you in Austin, so we've kept that love train going for a while.
Family in Chicago, your kids, your grandkids, and you came and you met my family in Austin, and my kids and my husband. And
your husband, I remember, fell in love with me. Do you remember we used to sit outside and smoke cigars, and you're like, why are you out here with my friend smoking those nasty cigars? And he's like, she's smoking them with me.
I do remember that. Yes.
It was so much fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Yes, I do, And I am also a student of School of Spiritual Development.
Yes.
I've been in since 2008, and it's it never ends because it's a process.
And I remember you being a very spiritual seeker, so much like myself. There's always, more to expanding. It's the ascension. There's layers to release from myself. Because most of the time we get suppressed or repressed in childhood, and we have to kind of take the shackles off. And the more we learn, the more we can take off.
I remember as a kid, 9 years old, I'll be in the car with my parents, they're driving. And I would look outside of the window while my dad is driving his car, and I'll look at the sky, and I would say, it's kind of like I'm having a conversation with God, and I'll be asking God, like, why am I here? And I'm telling myself there's more to life than what I'm seeing right here in front of me. Why am I here? And I would look at people with questions in my mind. Why people do the stuff they do? Why is this? Why is that? I think I had a lot of whys that I would ask my dad all the time, to the point my dad would explain as much as he can. And then he goes, okay, you need to stop with your whys because I don't have answers.
That sounds like me to my children, right? Yeah. And that's and you did. You've continued to ask the questions, and you've continued to seek the answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Yes.
But
why what's our mission? What's our purpose? And what we're supposed to be doing in this life? And there's more than what we're just seeing in all of this. And I think that got me on my path of the spiritual world that I am on, and the learning, because I was seeking, and I'm still seeking. I'm a seeker in my.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm not seeking out of dissatisfaction. I am very content and satisfied in my being. I'm seeking inside of knowing, inside of living, inside of expansion, inside of adventure. It's really. It seems like early in my life, I got on a track that said, go to college, get a job, work at corporate, have a family, and that wasn't going to do it for me. At some point, it was like, oh, wait, okay, there's something else. Like you're saying, there's something else over here that's calling my attention,
Well, else that is over here that is calling my attention, like you said, when I was younger and finished university, it was what we've been trained and told by our parents is you go to school, you go to university, you get your degree, you go and work, and this is part of life. And I've done that.
Yeah.
And me, it was where I am now in my life is content. And at the same time, what I'm seeking is calmness and peace. Because rather than the rat race and the competition that is out in the corporate world and all of that, it's more of peace within myself.
Yes.
Calmness within myself.
Yes.
In myself.
Yes.
And I love your book, Patiently Waiting for Nothing, because when you get older in my age, you feel like, yes, I am patiently waiting for nothing.
One of the things that I love about that title, and I was talking to my brother about this the other day, the full statement, and I saw this statement written on a garage when I would take my daughter to school. On my way back, I would see this statement that said, fully joyful, patiently waiting for nothing. And it just baffled me. I was so curious. And I really wanted to understand. I'm clear about fully joyful. I wasn't clear about patiently waiting for nothing. Because I was waiting for something. I was waiting for something to make me happy. I was waiting for something to make me rich. I was waiting for something to make me love myself. I was waiting for something instead of cultivating those things within myself. So after writing the book, I really did take on what it looks like to cultivate, to develop myself inside of that. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, totally. I used to, like when I was in the rat race, my husband would say to me, Hana, slow down, because we are not in control of anything. And that used to bother me when I was younger, because I used to feel like, what do you mean we're not in control of anything? I am in control of everything, you know? And I would have plan A, plan B, plan C. I go to this and this doesn't work. And then I realized that he was right, because from the day we're born till the day we die, what's in between, the journey, is patiently waiting for nothing, because we know the end. We know where we're going. No one is leaving this world alive. So enjoy whatever is there. Enjoy those moments, the small things. And I was very busy working and providing and thinking that this is what life is. And then when I went to the School of Spiritual Development and I started searching within myself, the questions for myself, when I used to be younger and thinking that I am here to change the world, I'm going to change the world. Now I look back and I'm going like, I don't need to change the world. All I need to do is change me. Then everything around me is going to change.
Wow.
And here to judge anybody's journey, I am here for my own journey, to find peace within my own journey, not some journey.
That's wonderful, because that is exactly why my person created Master Force, the Life Coach Certification course, is because I wanted to nurture leaders. I saw people that were so generous in their giving in life, and they, wanted to look out for people, but very few people looked out for leaders. Most people will take care the underserved or underprivileged, as they call them, but seldom did you see some people supporting leaders. And I wondered about that. I'm like, that's very interesting, because to me, it seemed like if you take care of leaders, they can get more done, because people are feeding off of them. So what can we do to nurture leaders so that they can take care of more people? Because if you take care of the underserved, they're only going to take care of themselves. It's not going to multiply. But a leader literally multiplies their own effort. So in the course, we teach those skills about self-preservation and self-care, which I didn't see being taught in a lot of the leadership roles. I didn't see people saying, you are a priority. It was always about just serve, serve, serve. And you can serve, but you have to learn to serve yourself first.
Yeah, that's very true. You have to learn how to serve yourself first. And one of the most important words I learned, which I didn't have in my vocabulary, in my School of Spiritual Development, and my teacher is the word prudence. And I didn't know what it means. What do you mean prudence? And he would say, Hana, you have to have prudence. Because I would walk with my heart on my sleeve, and whatever is there, I will jump in. I want to fix. I want to do this. I want to do. And he explained it very well to me. I said, I looked it up in the dictionary. I said, okay, I know what it means in the dictionary, but it's not registered.
Application, yes.
What does that mean? He said, I'll explain it to you what it means. He said, if there is a lion in a cage, you know that lion can attack you and hurt you. Would you put your hand into the lion cage and walk in? And I said, no. And he said, why not? I said, because I would be hurt. He goes, that's what prudence is. is to think and to slow down, to reflect on actions. That's what prudence. And since he explained it at work, at home, I practice the virtue. He said, it's a virtue.
Yeah.
I practice the virtue, try my best of prudence. If I walk into this den, in this argument, what's going to happen? It's not the right time, not the right conversation. So prudence.
And you know, that's so, I love that, because it makes me think of one of the principles that we teach, no rescuing.
Yes.
Because it's kind of in that same, because it's like, slow down before you jump in to do something. You know, how do you know this isn't something that the universe wants this person to learn and to experience and to go through? And, you know, if you always rescue them, then they don't have to develop the capacity to even know God. Somebody's always taking care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to have a sense of prudence to just allow people to be. Instead of thinking that, oh, I know what's best for you, so I'm going to do this, or I'm going to give you this, when actually, you know, maybe that's something they just need to go through, and all there is for you to do is just be with them.
That's very true. Another person explained it to me as well. I just remembered now. She was in class with me. Her name is Terry, and I love her to death. She said, Hana, I want you to imagine the lessons that we face in our life are kind of like a gift. So somebody gives you a gift. It's wrapped, like consider it as a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. So they wrap it up and they give it to you. If you open that gift for them and you unwrap and everything, they won't enjoy it because you took the joy away from it.
Wow.
But if they open it, wrap it one at a time, they're peeling it, they're opening, they're checking it, they're looking at it, they have more enjoyment in it. And so it's the same. So whatever is coming their way, it's a gift.
Yes, I like that. Yeah.
For learn what they need to learn, to experience what they need to experience. And if we do, like you said, no rescue, or we open it for them or run and let me do this or something, then you take the joy away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they don't get to have it. They don't get, and that's where resentment sets in. You know, you rescue somebody all the time, and then you want them to have this reverence for them, and it's like, well, I don't want you always taking care of me. You know?
Yes. And that's the same lessons that I am learning now from my kids.
Yes.
Where tell me, because my nature is, my color, they told me, is green, and green color is always jump to fix things. I'm a fixer. Something, let me, you know, or if my daughter, my son, something come, I need to jump in and fix it. And it's coming from a space. Now, I don't do it with other people, but because my kids, and I love them so much, and my family, I feel like I don't want them to be in pain. So I jump in because I want to fix it. I had to learn the hard way, where my kids would say, my son who holds my feet to the fire, and now my daughter is doing this, and my other son, and he would say, if I jump in and say, well, you could do this. And he would say to me, but I didn't ask you what to do with it. And I'm saying this to you because I really need you to give me the chance to figure out what I'm doing with this.
Wow.
And I know you're coming from a space of love. I know that. I have no doubt that you love me so much. But sometimes I need you to, you know, that love to tame it a little bit down. So I have confidence in myself.
Yes.
That I can figure this out.
Yes.
And when he would say this to me, I will stop and think, And I would say, man, he's right, but my ego is in the way. Then I stop there and I go like, he is right in every word he said. It's just me being a mother. And then he would ask me, he would say to me, and my daughter, my kids would say, but you're more than a mother. Who are you?
Oh, that reminds me of Eckhart Tolle's book, New Earth, The New Earth. And he talks about, he says how our egos have us trapped in these roles. So I'm mother, but you're not mother all the time.
Yes. So my 3 kids are Indigo kids. Very strong Indigo. And so I have one of them who somebody told me one time that he is here to hold people's feet to the fire. You mean what you say? And he is that much of it. And sometimes I feel like if you can only be a little bit softer with it, and then he would say something to the effect like, you're an adult and I need to tell you this because I need you to reflect on it. The other one is an Indigo, but he is here. He's the one who's married, but he's here to teach me and teach others to be in the moment.
Yeah,
you don't
present.
Have tomorrow. Be present. Yesterday is gone, and you don't have tomorrow. This is all you have. I might not say things to me, Mom. I might not be here tomorrow. So enjoy me now, where I am and what it is. My other one, my daughter is an Indigo, and she is a therapist, but her words, when she says something, they're very, very clear. There is no way for me or someone, if she's speaking to somebody, to say that again, I didn't understand. No, it's very clear.
She got it.
Very clear what she's saying, and she makes it very clear, and there is no misunderstanding, nothing. But the thing about them, I taught them so much when they were younger, but they are my teachers now.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good segue into our poem by Khalil Gibran.
Yes.
Yeah. You mind reading that?
Can I read it?
Yes, please. Please read that. Yes.
So it says, what he said, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows for which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer hand be gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. And when I read that, I read it more than once.
Yes.
On it. I reflected on it. I remember my words for my adult children. For example, my daughter, I just wrote her an email just a couple of days ago. She was here visiting us. She lives in New York. And of course, my heart, I want her around me in where I live in Texas. But she says that she likes it there. So before she left a couple of days ago, I teared up. And I that my vision and my dream was for her to be around me and to be married and living around me and her kids and all of that. Her answer to me, she never read that poem. And she said, but Mom, that's your vision, not mine. And I had to stop and think, and I said, yes, you're right. That's my vision, my dream, not your dream. So I had to write her an email because I felt when she left, she was heavy with guilt, that if she's not around me, she's feeling guilty, but she's torn. I wrote her an email and a text, and I told her, I said, look, I had to reflect on your words. You are the ship, you are the captain of your own ship. Mm-hmm. You need to live your life for you. And I am my commitment to you is to be by your side, cheering you to whatever decision you make or you want. Mm-hmm. But to be in the middle of it, because it is your life. You deserve to be happy. And you have, and if I asked or whatever, and I told her about this poem. I said, and she wrote me back and said, thank you so much for your words.
Wow.
And I felt, like you said, patiently waiting for nothing. We are raised and we grow up where we are learned things from our parents and ancestors.
Yeah.
They're giving to us, this is how, and all of this. And then we pass it on. Mm-hmm. The good, bad, the ugly. Mm-hmm. We pass them on. But like you said, these kids have their own dreams and their own vision. They're here for the purpose. They have to also accomplish their purpose, their lessons as well. And for me, all three of them are my biggest teachers, because each one of them, when I say something, stops me and say, teach me something. And they're teaching me, I feel like I tell them, you are old souls.
Yeah.
You've been here before.
Yeah.
And now I look also at my grandkids, and I see my grandkids, and when they do something, I just look at them with admiration. I don't say anything. I'm just looking, and in my mind, I'm going like, these are 7 years old, 9 years old, 11 years old, in small bodies, but they're adults. Yeah. They're old souls.
Well, that's interesting. I want to break that down a little bit for our audience, because a lot of times we don't realize that there is a spiritual source energy that's really taking care of us too. So, I believe you mentioned indigo earlier. When I studied about the indigos, it's my recollection that they started coming in after World War II, because it was something, it's like these wars, we're not built for war. War is not supposed to be a part of our society. So something started going wrong. So the universe said, let me get these indigo children in here. And indigo children are considered to be systems busters. So they're going to be the person that push up against the authority, the rules, the regulations, but they're going to be smart about it. They're not the rebels, so to speak. They're really they're going to challenge you. They're going to question you. They're going to tell you what doesn't work. And so when the indigo children started coming in, what started raising up was the pharmaceutical companies starting to prescribe things, and like, oh, this child has ADHD. Oh, this child has this. Did you notice that? Most people didn't even notice that the pharmaceutical companies then started trying to control how children behaved, because these children came in to change the world.
That's right.
But because we're not looking at the spiritual and the metaphysical aspect of life, we think, oh, we have to settle these children down so we can teach them. We're not even teaching them what they need to know. We're teaching them what fits into the confines of society. So, we have this socially engineered structure. And now you find out years later that they had a document that said we're going to have children hooked on drugs from the time they're born until they die. That was a document.
Yes.
And so, go ahead.
It's very sad because, like you said, it's true.
Yeah.
You probably heard of her, Dr. I think Doreen Virtue. Have you heard of her?
Yes.
So she is a psychologist in California. And she was seeing these kids and prescribing. And then one day, because the parents would bring them into her and say, my kids has an imaginary friend that they're talking to. And they're seeing and playing with and all of that. And one day, she had a message from an angel saying, these kids, don't put them on medication. And imaginary friends are real other spirits.
Yes.
And so they told her that we're going to help you with these kids. Mm-hmm. So her clinic completely to start working with these kids. The angel started downloading messages from the angels. She has a lot of these books. She has a book about indigo, a book about the rainbow kids.
Crystals, yes. Star seeds, yes. Because we have all of them coming in now. We need so much help. But as parents are still asleep to the magic of children and what they bring to us. Like they literally, you've said it a few times, they are our teachers. They've come to teach us and to show us a different way of life. Do you remember, I mean, my youngest child, no, she wasn't my youngest, but my daughter came out, she was like, I ain't eating meat. I mean, couldn't talk, but wasn't going to eat meat. Now, most babies are coming out like, no, I don't like meat.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell you, don't hurt the babies. Don't hurt but we're not listening.
We are not seeing them and we're not hearing them.
Yeah.
We are pushing our agenda on them.
Yeah.
We're telling them, ordering them, you need to do this and you should do this and this and this. But we're really not, we're stifling them with our ways of doing things, and we're really not connecting with them and hearing really what they have to say. Because I feel if we just listen, we'll be surprised with what is coming out of their mouth.
Totally.
That they have. Like for me, I have 3 grandkids. I can say the youngest one, which is a boy, is definitely an alpha, an indigo.
Yeah.
I believe the oldest one is the rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, the middle one, is the crystal.
Yeah.
The crystal are always have been jumping and doing things in the rainbow. And whenever I'm around them, like you said earlier in the session on the podcast, when I'm around them, I'm in aha.
Yeah.
I'm in aha, just listening, hearing what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Out of their mouth, I'm going like, they've been here before. This is not their first round in this realm, you know? Yeah. And I do my best to remember the teaching and remember what I'm learning and all of this so that I can honor them and honor also my kids. And I just want to mention one thing here. Several years ago, I went to Vision Force camp. And it was Michael Sky, and that's where I met Courtney. Mm-hmm. One of the things that they did was an exercise that people would line up this way and facing each other. and you just don't speak or anything. You just look each other in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And with that exercise, all the facade melted and people were in tears.
Yes.
Actually were able to see each other's soul.
Yes.
And then he said, when you go home, do an honor window for your family members.
Mm-hmm.
And I did an honor window for each one of my kids and my husband. And I told my son that when I said, you're here to hold people's feet to the fire and my feet to the fire. And I honored that in you. And the other one, I said, you're here for the moment. And the other one is for your wisdom. And it meant a lot to them because, and the reason I'm mentioning this is we don't honor our kids. Right. We don't honor little ones either. When we say, I admire this, or you're so smart. And I try my best, to remember to keep saying, man, you guys are so smart. You guys are so smart. You're unbelievably, and sometimes they ask me, go like, why you say that? What did we do smart? I said, you're just smart. Remember that.
It's so good that you say that because one of the reasons that I have such a sensitivity to children too is because I didn't grow up with that type of affirmation. But I remember my oldest son, he had to be 3 or 4, and he brought me his gym shoes, and he said, Mommy, can you take this knot out of my shoe? And I said, boy, I can't take that knot out of your shoe. He said, let me see if you can't do it. And I looked at him, I said, okay, give me the shoe. So, of course, I took the knot out of the shoe. But I also wrote a complete curriculum on it. That was the first time that I wrote because I thought that was the most brilliant thing a 3-year-old had ever said in my entire life, right? Let me see if you can't do it. And so it's inside of try, right?
Yes.
But just do it. Let me see, And growing up, my family did not have that kind of affirmation for me. They would have been like, get out of my face. Didn't I tell you to leave me alone or go figure it out for yourself? There was none of that acknowledgement. The same thing that you're talking about doing with your grandchildren and your children, reminding them of their greatness in the moment. And not just when they're getting grades and all of that, because we spend so much time talking about, oh, look at these grades. You got failing grades, you got good grades and all that. 10 years from now, grades are not going to make a difference, but how you treated them inside of their success and failure is going to make the difference.
It does. And they would remind you of the things that you taught them when you make a mistake. And it's funny. I'm telling you that because with my kids, I taught them at an early age how to be compassionate, be kind, stand with the underdog, help, support, all of these things I call them emotional intelligence,
Yes.
And now when I am with them, if we go to a restaurant and I speak into the waiter, not in an ugly way or mean, I just say maybe something, immediately they would turn and go like, well, that was not very nice the way you spoke. Yes. Or you say that. When she comes back, I apologize to her and say that. And I go like, I didn't say anything. And then I step back and I go like, wow, I told them that.
Yes.
To be kind, to be compassionate, to help, to be all of these things. And it is, and they remind you of this. And sometimes also what they remind me, especially my daughter, because I tell her, I taught them to be very independent thinker. Like I used to tell them, if I make a mistake and I'm your mother, don't just agree with me because I'm your mother and say, yeah, okay. Stand up and say, you're wrong. What you did
correct me so that I learn. Exactly.
Exactly. Don't just be, and speak up your mind with me and your dad. And both of us are, me and my husband, we taught them to be very strong-minded and speak up their mind with us and all that. So now Sometimes I tell them, I go like I see other family members or relatives or whatever it is, and I see that the mom or dad, they tell them what to do and they're doing it. And then when I tell my kids, I go like, no, we're not doing this. And I go like, in my mind, and my kids, one of them can read your mind, because he went into the kitchen and I'll be thinking about it, and he goes, Hana, you need to tone it down. Your thoughts are all over the kitchen. And so I had to learn. I had to learn to tell him, well, then you need to get out of my head. I didn't invite you in, you know. But it's all over. It's all over. I can hear it so loud. But now when I tell them that, they tell me, but Mom, you should be proud that you raised us to be very strong people and speak our mind, mm-hmm. and have our own thoughts and mind.
Yes.
And not to be followers. And sometimes it's kind of like a double edge for you as a parent, because you want them to do something.
It totally is. I have to ask I have to say to my children all the time, can I be the mommy today? Can I like literally share what I think? Because my children, and I do sometimes say I gave birth to my mother and father, because I grew up without parents, so I didn't have that authority growing up. I pretty much had so much freedom. And so it was interesting when my children started like, yeah, well, where were you? Excuse me. And I literally had to learn how to communicate inside of a family. Like, oh yeah, I'm going this place. I'll be back at this time. If the time changes, I'll call. Because I didn't grow up with any of that. With that type of communication. Yes. And it was with them, they taught me. So my children gave me a lot of the lessons that I didn't learn. And it is very, I don't know, I wouldn't say proud, but I am grateful for the type of people that my children are, because yes, they are very loving and compassionate. And I remember thinking, I just want to be able to take my children anywhere and they would feel comfortable and people would love them. And that was kind of like one of my missions. Wherever we go, they would feel at home and know how to speak, as you're saying, talk to people and be present to people.
To be helpful, to help people. And I feel the same way like you, Rita, because I feel like I raised my kids to deal with others.
Yeah.
When they see somebody need help, they jump and help. They don't wait for somebody to ask them. Mm-hmm. They need or something like that, they go ahead and do it. They're very considerate. I installed in them certain things, like, for instance, if we're sitting and eating and we have other people, guests or whatever, and they're older, much older than older men or women, their grandparents or something, they stand up and they give their seat.
Yes.
Who's older than them, they're going to say, please sit here.
Yes.
For me, I look at that, and I traveled to Asia. I traveled all over the world, and I see that in Asia, where people bow for somebody who's older or stand up and give them their seat. And I look at this, as much as I criticize myself sometimes, I go like, or beat myself up for the mistakes that I did. I look at it, I go like, I made mistakes. We all make mistakes. I made mistakes, and when I think about it, I go like, if I knew what I know now, it would have been totally different, but I didn't.
When I know better, we do better. And actually, mistakes are the reason that we do get better. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking to somebody, to one of the spiritual teacher, and I was saying exactly what I just said in my statement, like the mistakes that I made, the things that I've done that I could have done better. And she said to me, she said, Hana, you are exactly where you need to be.
Yes.
And what happened and the mistakes is what led you to this spiritual road.
Come on.
And so everything that happened was meant to happen to get you on this path that you are on now.
That's wonderful.
And I look back and I'm going like, okay, every day is a new day, is a new lesson for me that I learned. And the other thing that I ask, like, okay, help me to be a better person. Help me to Like one of the things that I learned in the School of Spiritual Development recently as well is when someone hurts you or insults you or something, instead of reacting to them with anger, or or you get mad and go like, well, this person is this, what they think of them, what might be going on with them internally that is causing them to react that way. Happening with them internally. It's not about you. It's what's going on with them internally.
Yeah.
And the biggest gift that you can give is, one of the virtue is love and forgiveness, which is the hardest. But then if we practice love and forgiveness in our life, like I look at it, for me, I feel like if we say that God forgives us and God is the biggest forgiver and he forgives our sin and all of that, who am I to hold on to it and not forgive you?
Yeah, but most of us do. Most of us do hold on, and that's. But let me ask you, because we're getting up to time. If you look, and I know that we do have some cultural differences, but what would you say is the biggest challenge that children face today?
They're not heard, they're not seen, and they're not respected for their opinion. We dismiss them very easily because we think they don't know, and we are the adults and we know better. And I think that's the challenge. And we as parents as well, we are not equipped and trained in how to be better parents, how we can ground ourselves, how we can breathe like the certification that I got from you, breathe to center, and respond when something happens or we see something, instead of we are on autopilot in our reaction. So then they shut down, they're afraid, they don't want to open up, and the more we pile on them, the shut down, when they are adults, they're total shutdown.
Because they haven't learned how to actually process for themselves who they are. That is so, I love that you said that. And I do teach a course called The Tao of Parenting, where we do work with parents and having them to do the work that you and I are talking about, where we listen for our children as our teachers, where we listen for what is the spiritual lessons this child has come to remind me of. And see, when people think teachers, they think of somebody standing up on a whiteboard, writing something down or giving you something to read. But no, a teacher is also someone that you can observe. Like you said, you say, all you do with your grandchildren, you just look and you're in awe. But in that observation, you're learning something.
Yes.
You're learning something about them and yourself.
Yes.
Yes. But parents, are so busy that they don't get an opportunity to actually see, what is it that I can take in this moment from my child? What can I learn? What did they come here to remind me of, to teach me?
That's very true.
Yeah.
And you Rita, you said the younger parents are very busy, and we were very busy when we were young. Run.
Yeah.
And so we don't even have a moment to stop and watch what's happening in front of us. I was guilty of this, and as a grandparent, I even though I'm working, but I can stop and walk. And one example that I want to say very quickly, a while back, I was with my grandkids at Macy. And we're walk out of Macy to go to another store. And I stopped for a second, and I'm watching them, and I stopped for a second to look at his shoes. And my youngest grandson said to me, "Pay attention. You're not here shopping, and pay attention to me. You're supposed to pay attention to me where I'm walking. So stay with it." let's go. And I stopped. And I was laughing, but it was like, oh my God, that is so, it was so funny to my heart, joy. It's not funny, joy. But I'm going like, this is not a 7-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Having his grandmother pay attention.
Yeah.
And maybe in my old time, probably like, what do you mean you're telling me pay attention? But it was like, oh my God, he is so right.
Yes.
He's right.
But you know, we grew up in a time, and I know I did. If I would have said that, because I did say some things to my grandmother, I got smacked across the mouth or hit with whatever she had in her hand. Like like it was always about, I'm the authority. You don't get to. And I think that's where we as parents kind of got that from, that we think that the child has nothing to say because we're older.
Yes.
When they do have something to say, they have a lot to say. And a lot of wisdom if we just pay attention and really hear what they're saying. A lot of wisdom. A lot of wisdom.
Gives you sometimes they go like, oh my God, they're right. They're right in what they're saying. Because again, they are old souls that are here.
Yeah.
And they are here to teach us certain things. It's not us just teaching. They're giving us gifts as well.
Yeah.
If we're willing, we don't have the ego to go like, what can I learn from this right now that is right in front of me? Because for me, I feel like they are the messengers.
Yes. I totally agree with that.
Speak in a certain way, and they speak through the kids.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I totally agree with that last statement. I actually wrote a poem when I was, I think, 6 months pregnant with Zakor, and it was called "The Messenger from God." Like he came to give a message.
They are the messenger, and most importantly for me is like they are a gift. Our children are a gift from God, from the universe, and our job is to take care of that gift until he calls it back.
Yes, and that's the best thing that we could do for our children is to nurture them, keep them safe, provide proper nutrition, and listen to them. Not just control them and tell them what to do and make sure they do what we say and make sure they get good grades, make sure they're not bad. Those are not as important as making sure they are safe.
Yes, that's very true.
And taken care of. And then the one last thing that I wanted to say that's important for parents, how we talked about the Indigo, Crystal, Rainbow Children. We do have a series on Ignite Your Soul Connections. A couple of times we talked about the New Earth Children, and that's on our YouTube channel. But I also want to talk about Bach Flower Remedy. So Bach is spelled B-A-C-H, and it's a flower essence that can help children to balance their emotions and their hormones without the things that, the Ritalin and all that. And I get it, but I want you to know that we have to be our own authority when it comes to our bodies and our well-being. And if they're dosing our children and then our children become hooked on ephedrine and all that as they get older, that's a huge responsibility for us to put on them when we actually, started them to using it. So there are other things. Bach Flower Remedy is one of them. And they have 38 different flower essences. They have a website, bachflowerremedy.com. Study it. There are naturopaths out there that use this, and then if you need some help, call a Master Voice coach because all of them learned about it.
Call Rita.
We have several coaches worldwide. And I just want to thank you, Hana. You didn't think this hour was going to go that fast, did you?
No, because I feel there's so much I want to talk about.
Well, what else do you want to say? I mean, listen, we don't, I appreciate the time. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Maybe next time I would like to talk about some of the things that we did with some of the kids or the youth, some technique that we did with them to help them get them out of trouble.
Very cool. Okay, well, we can definitely set up another time. It's always good. I can't say enough about our need to nurture and support children.
Yes.
They actually require all that we have.
Yes, they are
the future. And I don't know why we don't get, I mean, we say it, we sing it, we talk about it, but we really don't get it. Like, your child is going to be someone who at some point will have to take care of themselves, but also take care of you. And if you spend your whole time treating them like a child, they're not developing the maturity or the responsibility to fulfill on knowing how to take care of themselves.
That's true.
So
the song that I love the most about children, Michael Jackson. We are the world. We are the children of the world.
Oh, yes. We are the world. We are the children. Yes. That's a lovely song.
Beautiful, beautiful song and beautiful words that I think every child should hear it so they know who they are.
Yeah. I think when I get done with this podcast tonight, I might play it. That's a great song.
Can you integrate it in there, in that podcast?
I'll have to see how... I might have to call one of my coaches and find out if they know how to do that.
This is what I love about you, Rita, and our friendship. It's like you're a sister to me, and it goes a long way. And we don't talk for a while, but the minute we talk, it was just like no time ever lapsed.
No time ever passed. And we're trying to create our next trip. Like,
Yes, there you go.
Or you. When are you coming to Austin?
Yes, Austin. That might happen like you did last time.
Oh, I know, right? With what were those pit bulls? Beautiful white pit bulls. Beautiful. Yes. Do you still have them?
We have not pit bull. It's American Bulldog and a German Shepherd.
Oh, okay.
We have. The German Shepherd is a sweetheart because she's a service dog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Or he.
I just love animals. Right now, I can't have them because I move around too much. You know what I mean? It's not fair to have a pet when I travel all the time.
Sure, yes, definitely.
That's not being nice. So thank you, Hana. I don't want to take all your evening, and I will schedule a time later this summer for us to talk again. And maybe you'll consider, I'm not sure what we're doing. We're doing Ignite Your Soul Connection in June. So I might hit you up to see what we're going to be talking about. You might want to get in on one of the topics, okay?
That would be awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you much.
Thank you.
Enjoy a great evening. Bye.
All right. Good night, everybody. See you on the next podcast. And we are patiently waiting for nothing. Good night.
Yes. Awesome.
Talk to you later.